So this in blue is your birth chart, a map of the sky, the moment you were born. And then here in red, this is a map of the sky at the time of the upcoming lunar eclipse, which is happening on 19th November at 12:57 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this eclipse is at 27 degrees of Taurus, and Algol is at 26 degrees of Taurus. So this eclipse is bringing in the energy from the fixed star named Algol. We've been talking about that on the channel, so you can go back and listen to some of the previous talks that we've done on that. So you just want to know that the lunar eclipse is bringing in also that energy from that star Algol. Since the moon is on the north node at this eclipse, this says that the lunar eclipse is a surge of energy. It's like when the wave comes into shore. It's a huge surge of energy. And because it's on the north node, so if it were on the south node, it would be a recession. It would be a drawing back of energy. But because it's on the north, it does have this big, it's an influx. So this is happening in your third house. And the third house has to do with short trips, just going to the store, going to down the street, or, just it has to do with changing our perception. This also relates to siblings, and that's because siblings have to do with it's how we know ourselves. It's like what the information that we're bouncing off early in life, which shapes how we think about ourselves in relation to others. If you don't have siblings, that's okay, because third house also has to do with short trips, how you learn, what you think about, what you find interesting, the way you communicate, your communication style. That's all third house content. Now, this is in opposition to your ninth house. Ninth house has to do with long trips, studying at university or at the master degree level. It has to do with going out of the country or going on a long trip somewhere. Normally, when we go on a long trip, we're shifting more than just the top layer of our perception. Now we're shifting more of like our pattern around how we think, and we need to learn new things, like more long lasting when we travel abroad or if we take a long trip. Ninth house also has to do with higher education. So this is university level. So if you were taking classes that are going to shift your philosophy for life, that's the ninth house. So this is the polarity that's being worked on during this eclipse. And since the moon is in your third, there is an influx of information changing the way that you perceive yourself in the world. Now, what you also want to look at is Uranus at 12 degrees Taurus in exact opposition with Mars, who is at 12 degrees Scorpio. This opposition actually hits exact today, and it'll still be exact when we get to this lunar eclipse on the 19th. So this energy for all of us collectively is the first thing that comes up in my mind has to do with accidents involving our vehicle. Our vehicle can be our car. It can also, more so, it is our physical body. And it can also extend out into our car. And it's not all transportation. It's more related to it's like ownership, because your physical body, when you're driving your car, you'll say like, he hit me or she hit me. Because when we're driving, that vehicle does become an extension of our physical body. So accidents are likely between now and this lunar eclipse, and that's not the main thing. That's the result of what it is, one of the results. But what this is really about is shifting our assemblage point. Assemblage point is basically like where we're perceiving ourselves in the world. Assemblage point is like what is normal to you. When you wake up, you look around, there's like a baseline. That's the assemblage point. And this transit, the alignment between Uranus and Mars, is shifting our assemblage point around masculinity, around willpower and force. The question is, how do you use your masculine force, your ability to take action, to penetrate reality with your will? And collectively, how has Mars shown up in our life? And how have we all related to that masculine force? So Uranus being opposite Mars is giving us all an opportunity to look at how we run our masculine energy, or how do we run from masculine energy. So for you, this is exact on your natal Chiron. So this could be bringing up in forceful, aggressive ways, because that's how Mars typically acts. It could be bringing up your wounds and giving you an opportunity to see your wounds as tools to finding your true superpower. So if you had a wound in your ability to learn, or your ability to travel abroad and take those long trips, and because Chiron's in your ninth house, there may be some wounding around being or feeling like you can go and study at a higher level for your higher education. And if you had that wound, you may have done all that you can to learn as much as possible in the ways that you can, using the internet as a resource, studying in books, taking, all these free summits. You may be somebody who goes to a lot of those higher education things because you have Chiron there. Chiron in the ninth is also saying that eventually at some point you are the philosopher. You have taken so much educational materials that you've created this whole philosophy for your life that eventually you go out and become the philosopher or the teacher or the instructor at a university level. So this is coming up a lot for you because the eclipse is here. And also I want to point out that Sun and Mercury close together in your ninth house is really shining a light on this ninth house material. So for everybody, wherever this eclipse is happening, you just want to look at what planets that you have there and what house axis. So look at the whole polarity of Taurus and Scorpio.